Good morning. Today we have a slightly different video. I'm going to do a bit of a review of this motorcycle, plus to keep in keeping with the channel, we're going to have a little trip, a little tour around the village. Show you what that's like, rural Portugal village. Anyway, the motorcycle, what I've got here is a mash. Yes, it's not a monster mash, it's a 250 mash. If you don't know anything about mash, they were founded by a French fella called, hang on, refer to my notes, Frédéric Forgot in 2012. He was an importer, and he had a dream to have his own motorcycle brand, which he finally managed to manifest and make happen. As with many things these days, these are actually made in China, although they're to his design, and obviously retro styly. Yeah, it's a good looking bike. 249cc engine based on the old Suzuki GN250, I believe, which were made to be simple and reliable. So as long as this has been made with good quality control in mind, it should be robust and last a long time. But only time will tell. This bike has only done about 2,500 kilometers so far, but I can say no trouble whatsoever in that time. Let me refer to my notes. Yeah, 23 horsepower, so it's not going to pull your arms off. Maximum speed rated at 140 kilometers per hour. I don't think I'd like to do that speed on it. But nice little runner, and fuel tank is 14 litres, and the stated fuel consumption is around about 3 litres per 100 kilometres, which that means you could get 450 kilometres of range out of a full tank. That equates to something like 270 miles, which is pretty impressive, actually. And as we take a look around the bike, I can point out a few nice things, like metal mudguard, metal headlights around, metal tank, metal rear mudguard. In fact, the only plastic bits are the two side covers. This side contains the battery and electrical connections. The other side has the air filter behind it. Also, braking wires. Here we have a 280mm front disc with ABS, and at the back there's a smaller disc, 170 I think it is, also with ABS. One could say that for a 250 it's even over braked, however, rather more brakes than less. The seat height is obviously not very high. It's about 30.5 inches, 78 centimeters. If I sit on it, there we are. You can see how low it is. I'm just 6 feet, 183. But, you know, sitting on it like so, doesn't actually feel cramped. It feels quite comfy. The seat is perhaps a little bit hard, but that's something that could be altered if it became a pain in the derriere. But I think you'll agree, it looks the part. The rear shock absorbers are adjustable somewhat, but obviously you're not going to get a great deal of adjustment out of them. I think they're on their firmest setting at the moment, which is where they apparently need to be. I said this was the old Suzuki engine. Of course, it has fuel injection these days, which apparently is by Delphi, but I don't actually see a mark on it. LED lighting all around, and it's very good, very bright and clear. So all in all, a nice looking bike. The controls are standard, but they're nice and chunky and solid feeling, so no complaints about that. And the display, we've got a nice, well, it's digital really, but it's an analog looking speedometer with the basic information that you need in there. Again, simple but effective. One strange anomaly with this bike is it actually came with olive green hand grips, which I think were original from the factory. This bike wasn't bought new, but very nearly new. All the other photographs I've seen have brown hand grips, like the seat, which makes sense. Olive green, I don't know, maybe they ran out of brown ones that day. Anyway, the owner decided she didn't like the olive green, so we replaced them with black, and we put bar end weights on as well, which I think really finish it off nicely. I have to confess, I've barely ridden this bike. I've ridden it a few hundred meters. So my little ride today is going to be my first experience of it. So my first impressions, which will be interesting. I think we should go.
If you see me pass, don't count to 10, 'cause I ain't stopping, I'm raising dust, not even slow it down, I don't wanna rust, firing up, heading out, leaving behind any doubts.
The tyres this bike comes with are Timson, obviously Chinese. They're a kind of general purpose looking tyre. How long they'll last, who knows? But the tread on them seems to be good for pretty much everything, including this kind of sandy gravel road. So I'm fairly confident with them. First impressions over these bumpy bits is that the bike feels firm, suspension feels taut. Not uncomfortable, which is pretty good considering this road has some rough bits like that. Hey, so this is my very first time on the road on this bike. Here we go. And she pulls away quite nicely, actually. I do need to slow down a bit here. We have these speed control lights. It's a very light bike, 130 kilos, about 140 if it's fully fueled. So it feels very, very easy to steer. Okay, I'm going to take a little detour here. Has quite a pleasing sound to it. A little bit of a snarl, purr. Yes, I'm enjoying this little ride. That's why I've taken a detour, so we can see a bit more of the local area. I don't know how much of the landscape you can see in the distance there, but over to our right would be Spain. Nice quiet country road, that's what we like to see. Really, this sort of road is what this bike is particularly good with. I think, as you've just seen, it will sit quite nicely at 85, 90, no problem at all. That's kilometers per hour. I don't know this village very well. In fact, I've only been through it a couple of times. It's not really on our route, but it's quite a typical little Portuguese village. Thank you.
As I head out with my head up, not knowing where I'll end up, I may be thinking of you and the things we could do with our lives. I see the road stretch on and I gear up and I roll on the gas and feel the wind on my face. I know in my heart I can't stay in one place, and I head out.
Back out into the olive groves.
Get rid of my doubt. I see the road stretch on. I pick up my pace. Some call me lazy, but my recall is somewhat hazy. 'Cause when I'm thinking of you and the things we could do, I get confused. I see the road stretch away, I get fantasy. Yeah.
And my first impressions while riding it are very favourable. Pulls really nicely. It's quite smooth, quiet, taut. I'd say maybe the suspension is slightly hard, but we can adjust that. Meanwhile, have a look at the surroundings. How nice. Typical country road around these parts.
I prefer wheels to feet. I'd rather not walk in the heat. You see me riding my bike, 'cause I do what I like. One down and four up is how I roll. 10 for baby, gonna pay no toll, yeah. Heading down the highway, going my way. I see another one-eyed monster. I'm gonna give you my way. I prefer the wind in my face as I move from place to place. You won't see me looking back. That's a fact. One down and four up is how I roll. I hear my baby gonna pay no toll.
So what's my overall impression? Having done a few kilometers on the bike, overall I'd say very favorable. Really nice to cruise along. Feels quite comfortable. I went up to 90 kilometers an hour, which isn't very fast, but I wasn't on big roads, of course, and it felt fine at that. It also feels very, very relaxed at 60, 70, 50 even, going through the villages. I would say the throttle response is slightly snatchy when you're going very slowly in second gear and the like, but that's quite normal for smaller bikes in my experience. Overall, a really nice ride. And yeah, I think Mr. Fourgeau has done a very good job with his little Mash 250. Hope you enjoyed the tour, and see you next time.